Let's fast forward to 2002 and the one-man wrecking machine. Ricky Carmichael has used the AMA Nationals as his own demolition derby as the Honda rider has smashed record after record en route to winning every single race. Today, RC heads to the historic hills of Unadilla to chase down a record that has stood in place for 23 years. Bob Hanna's 8-race win streak could be the next record broken by Red Rider number 4. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 8th round of the 2002 AMA Chevy Trucks U.S. National Motocross Championships. This afternoon, we will be watching the 250cc action from Unadilla Valley Sports Center in New Berlin, New York. The chase of Ricky Carmichael continues on one of the most famous motocross tracks in the world. I'm your host, Davey Coombs, and joining me is David Bailey, former champion, plus Cameron Steele. And this afternoon, the pursuit of Ricky Carmichael goes on. Carmichael, a perfect score of 350 points. That's after 14 motos. He is 87 points ahead of Tim Ferry. Right now, it's almost as if Carmichael is racing against the history books. Check out some of these records he's already got. 26 125 national wins, 18 straight moto wins, 10 outdoor national wins. Can anyone beat this guy? We ask Ricky himself.
You know, there's a couple guys. I think Ferry will be good just because he's on a 4-stroke, and you know, I think they have an advantage here for sure. But my bike's really good, so he won't be at as much of an advantage this year as he was last year. And of course, Sebastian, he rides really well here. It's a European-style track, and I got my work cut out for me today. It's going to be tough. I feel that if I can get through today, I can keep my streak alive throughout the end of the series.
Well, Ricky Carmichael also has a winning streak going on here at Unadilla. He has not lost since 1997, but all of those wins came on Kawasaki. For a closer look at the Unadilla Valley track, let's go to Cameron Steele with this week's Suzuki Fast Lap.
Well, Couch Riders at home, it's time for the Suzuki Fast Lap. You can come out to Indy National to enter to win this Sobe Suzuki motorcycle. I'm going to whoop up on it, of course, all year, but at Steel City, we're going to be giving it away. All you got to do is come out, enter to win. Here at Unadilla, no one has been on the course since last year. It's covered with grass, and it's all mine. I'm going out first, and I want to take you guys right out to the most pristine, most legendary course in all of motocross. Let's get out there and do it. Well, my first shot. Virgin terrain. I get to be the first guy out at Unadilla. Everybody's dream. Riding the grass. No one's been on the course. The only lines are mine. And it is buttery smooth. Long, sweeping turn. I'm headed towards the gravity cavity. And after a few laps of practice, getting into the racing with the guys, it will look nothing like this. It will be an absolutely rough and tough course. Now, after a few practices, you can see the grass is gone, and it's starting to get rough. I'm gonna be getting roosted. Look how soft this is. No landings on the jump, and you can see all these little white specks coming up. This nice off-camber section, a little tough to ride. Those specks are rocks. Place is known for the rocks coming to the top, and look at these ruts going into the tabletop. And just to show you how rough this Unadilla track gets, take a look at this.
And blam, down goes Cameron Steele.
And he gives our helmet camera the drop test, takes a big divot out of this nice Unadilla golf course, it looks like. Beautiful facility, great for spectators. Historic track, hasn't changed much over the years, but it's a lot smoother today, Davey, than it has been in the past.
Well, they've taken the amateurs off, and then for the 250 class this time, we have a newcomer. Josh Coppins has come over from the 250 Grand Prix circuit where he's running second. We talked to him before the race. He said this is where he needs to learn how to catch up in Europe.
Well, about a month ago, I saw there was a break in our GP calendar, so I thought, you know, it'd be a good opportunity to come over and ride Unadilla, and I'd heard so many stories about Unadilla, and right now I think the American riders are the fastest in the world, so I'm second in the Grand Prix, so, you know, I want to try and step it up and win the championship. So I thought I'd use this as an opportunity to come and learn and watch the guys like Carmichael and see where they're faster and hopefully learn why they're faster and try and go back to Europe a little bit better.
A factory Honda rider in Europe. Coppins is getting help from Plano Honda today. He will be going after Ricky Carmichael and the rest of the riders you see on our Suzuki starting lineup. Nick Way back in action on the Moto XXX Yamaha. He will be riding a YZ250. His teammate Kyle Lewis rides the CRF 450R. A big difference there under the Moto XXX 10. Now the card is getting ready to go sideways, and the first moto is ready to go underway. Check it out. They're back to a grass starting gate here, no concrete. And down goes the gate. Here they come right up the middle. Riders down already. And it's Mike LaRocco, a very rare hole shot. Guy Cooper right behind him. There's Carmichael. And just like that, Carmichael on the inside, there's Ferry. Ferry will hold the lead on the number 15 Yamaha. Carmichael sweeps around the outside against the fence, and he edges out the Yamaha as they get ready to drop into gravity cavity.
He had to ride around that corner so much harder than Ferry on the outside with all that momentum just to out horsepower that bike. He was worried about the horsepower that Ferry would have on that four-stroke. Also, LaRocco, the same power plant, and he beat him anyway.
Not a bad start for his teammate Sebastian Tortelli either. So it's Carmichael, Ferry, LaRocco, Tortelli, and then Guy Cooper, 40 years old and running in 5th place.
Just when it looks good for these other guys to try to stop Ricky, he just has an answer. Every time, LaRocco with a hole shot, his mechanic Paul Delorier had to be thinking, yeah, here we go. And then Ferry comes in there and takes the lead, and Carmichael still finds his way to the front, already inching away.
There you see Carmichael, then Ferry, LaRocco, Tortelli, and Josh Coppins. Not a bad start for a GP rider. He is up into 5th spot.
Well, he wants to see what these guys are doing, and he's in a perfect place right now. Mid-pack start, he would never see these guys.
Down off the plunge on the far side of the track, they drop into what is the fastest section of the track. As you can see, it's gotten a lot rougher from when Cameron took his practice lap. Down across the middle, you're seeing a former two-time world champion Tortelli leading New Zealand's Coppins, who is chasing after yet another Frenchman, Mikhail Pichon, over in Europe. Like he said at the beginning of the show, he's over here to learn how to ride with the Americans. But David, what can he learn from Ricky Carmichael from this far behind?
You'll never see him. He'll have to watch the videotape to see anything there. The big plateaus, they come back to the front up the uphill, and the top about 7 or 8 positions now, all 450s, 4 strokes, and the 520 of Cooper, and Carmichael and Tortelli up there with those guys. So they got horsepower.
Taking a look off the start, they get a clean break. Carmichael coming up through alongside LaRocco, and you see a couple riders go down. Can't really make out who that is from here. And then there comes LaRocco, but where's Carmichael?
Right to the inside. He kind of leans in on Ezra Lutz, really forces those guys to have to slow down a lot. That ruined their start down the next straightaway.
Getting ready to complete the first lap. Coppins looking pretty good so far. He is in 5th. He's on that number 900 Honda, but he's taken a lot of roost from Sebastian Tortelli. And David, you've raced here before, you've done well. What do those rocks feel like?
Well, first of all, it's 10 times better than it used to be, but you don't feel it that much until you get hit with one about baseball size, and it makes you go slow for a half a lap thinking about it. It hurts bad, and these guys are all wearing chest protectors either on the outside or under their jersey. They've all gone to hand guards, even Carmichael.
When we come back, Carmichael, Ferry, and LaRocco at Unadilla. Speed World's presentation of AMA Motocross is brought to you by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles. And by Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, and scooters. Honda, performance first. And speaking of Hondas, we have quite a battle going on. This is for 4th place here in the 250 National Class. Tortelli on the inside. That is Josh Coppins on the outside. The number 900 Honda tries a little inside-out move, and he will make that pass stick, David.
Tortelli's trying to ride defensive right now because he can't shake Coppins, and in doing so, he's just creating more opportunities right there. He's uncertain as to what line he's going to choose, and he had to ride defensive right there and made the wrong choice.
Well, this can't be good for Tortelli's confidence. After all, the French press giving him a hard time for not doing as well here in America as he did over in Europe. And with Pichon racing against Coppins for that 250 world title, this will just make the people in France think less of Sebastian.
Well, I think he's just a little bit out of it right now. You know, there's a lot of talk about him going to Suzuki, and he's so far out of the points in the Nationals. He takes a little roost right there that I think his concentration is gone. I've talked about that before, and it just continues. Coppins just going from the outside, square in the corner, Tortelli looking over like, well, if I would have taken the inside, he would have gone around me the same way that Carmichael went into the lead. So he's in a no-win situation right there, and his confidence is really dinged right now, and he's nowhere near his teammate like he can ride with him and, you know, in testing. And as soon as he gets into the race and Carmichael's way out in front, I think Tortelli just wants to go home.
Tortelli dropping into gravity cavity, and you can see Coppins has already opened a little gap on him, and you just caught a brief glimpse of Lorocco there. That's your third place rider, and they've kind of cleared out. Carmichael again at the front of the pack, Tim Ferry in second on the Yamaha, Mike Lorocco third, Plano Honda's Josh Coppins in fourth, and Tortelli coming along in fifth.
You can even see the difference as they approach that corner right to the right-hander into the tree. Coppins getting in there, getting his leg out sooner, just a little bit more aggressive, and Tortelli's still in there on the brakes, a little more tentative. He's just not riding well right now. Things aren't coming together. I expect him to get it together more about midway point of this race. He always seems to start to figure things out. Right now, it's not coming together, though.
If you don't get things figured out before the midway point of a race, before the first lap, you can forget about Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah, forget Carmichael. They might as well forget him anyway. These guys aren't even close, but at least Tortelli should be able to get second.
Down through the infield of the track, Coppins continues to lead Tortelli up over the jump. Tortelli looks like he's going to have the inside line going to this next corner, and Tortelli makes the pass. Coppins comes back on the inside, and this time Tortelli takes him right back.
Sebastian just wanted that. He just wanted it more. He got tired of following him around. He started to get a little bit more comfortable. He's tired of just soaking up all those rocks and put it together. And if he can get around him and get a little bit of a gap now, he should be able to pull away.
Now, how do you set this pass up?
Just faster around the outside, able to carry a little bit more momentum. It's hard to tell from there, but that whole sweeper is a little bit off camber, and Tortelli was out there wider. And, of course, it puts him on the inside going into the next corner. I think Coppins knew at this point. He blew it. He tries to cut back to the inside, but Tortelli isn't going to have it.
Taking a look at the battle for seventh, that's Kyle Lewis and Robbie Raynard, the two fastest privateers on the circuit right now. Raynard on a 250 and Lewis on the big open class four-stroke. They come down the middle part of the track. Lewis been injured lately, having a few good rides early in the season, but lately he's kind of tapered off. Now he's got Raynard right on him.
Raynard's one of those guys you have to worry about on a track like this. Raynard doesn't have that sheer speed, but
right there he showed a little bit, right on the inside. Sorry, David.
That's okay. He doesn't really show that sheer speed, but on a track like this where lines are important and just having that smooth, flawless style, it kind of wears on you after a while, and he's able to get around. If this track was even rougher, Raynard would go faster because he's so good at being able to just float through the bumps and pick the best lines.
Well, fans in Europe will get to see Raynard in a couple weeks. He is going to Genk, Belgium for a 250 GP, taking the reverse route of what Coppins is doing. Back up to the front of the pack, Carmichael continues to lead, sort of pulling away, but at the same time, Tim Ferry keeping him honest. And Ferry won the first moto here last year, David.
Actually, Carmichael didn't win either moto last year. Tortelli won the second one, and he's in control here, though.
It's Carmichael, Ferry, Lorocco, Tortelli, and Coppins in the first 250 moto here at Unadilla. We'll be right back.
Champions ride Hondas. Now and in the future.
I wanna ride, I wanna ride, I wanna ride. I gotta ride, I gotta ride.
The Honda XRs. There
He is perfect so far.
Yeah, the whole thing with records, I mean, you have to address them because he is taking over all of them, but, you know, those were different days. I mean, that was the era of 45-minute motos, and a lot of things have changed, but Ricky is definitely strong, and had he been involved in racing back when Mark Barnett was racing, I think these guys would have had some great battles.
He looks a lot like Barnett on the bike, doesn't he?
He does. He's got that same attitude. You very rarely see Ricky riding slow. You know, of course, now we're talking about him in the last lap, and he can cruise on into the checkered flag. But once the race, they show up to a new racetrack or in Supercross, he's never seen the track before, he's fast right off the bat, and that was the trademark of Mark Barnett.
Up over the wall for the last time here in the first moto. No tricks, no showing off, no nothing for Carmichael. I think he learned his lesson a couple years ago at Millville when he missed that no-footed can-can. But Carmichael about to ride into the record books at probably the 20th point of entry. Up over the hill, the checkered flag is out. And there it is, 15 moto wins in a row for Ricky Carmichael. A couple lap riders and a ways back. Here comes Tim Ferry, a solid ride, but nevertheless, a second place ride.
You gotta be getting sick of that. To go out there and ride hard, get a good start, ride as fast as you can, and to be beaten like that, it just completely demoralizes you. LaRocco at least has an excuse. His wrist isn't quite right, but for Ferry, he's just going, man, I don't know what it's going to take.
Unadilla has a rich history in motocross, but few races will match the 1997 250 National for excitement. In the first moto, the main combatants were Yamaha's John Dowd and Kawasaki's Jeff Emmett. The pair swapped positions at the head of the pack several times. Toward the end of the moto, a pair of GP champions, Greg Albertine and Stephen Everts, added themselves to the mix. With 2 laps to go, any one of the 4 could have been the winner. Then Dowd made a slight mistake. With the pressure off, Emmett scored the win. Moto number 2 was more of the same. At one point, Emmett, Dowd, and Everts seemed glued together as they blasted around the rugged Unadilla track. Everts lost his chance for the win when he crashed while trying to pass Dowd. A last-ditch effort on the part of Dowd came up inches short, and Emmett would claim a pair of moto wins and the 250 overall honors on the day.
It's Red Dog.
Well, back to today's action, and Ricky Carmichael's got his 15th moto win in a row. He's with Cameron down the winner's circle.
Well, guys, I'm down here with your first moto winner and 15th in a row, Ricky Carmichael. Earlier in the day, you said that you might have a battle here. You felt like there would be a battle. You didn't quite get the whole shot. Did you feel like you might have had more of a fight with Timmy Ferry than you did? You seemed to get by him really easy.
No, he was riding good. You know, this is kind of a 4-stroke track, and luckily my Honda's, I believe it's the fastest 2-stroke out there, and it's going to be tough. You know, there's not much skill to this track. It's really, really fast, and you know, that comes with the territory. You know, everyone's got the same track to ride, but I'm really happy with the win today.
Well, you listen to a lot of people, the announcers, the commentators, people around the track, contributing. I would say this record, that record, Ricky Carmichael could win them all. But you're really just having fun riding a dirt bike, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just having fun, you know, Cameron. That's what it's all about. And I'll tell you, man, everyone's riding good. I feel good, and everything's good.
Would it make it just a little more fun if you did go undefeated this year?
It'd be really fun, but a lot of stress.
Right on. Well, we'll see if you can keep it going in Moto 2.
All right, thanks.
Well, that first moto wasn't too much stress for Ricky Carmichael. He virtually led start to finish. Ferry, LaRocco, Tortelli, and Josh Coppins rounding out the top 5. Ezra Luss 6th. Raynard wins the battle of the privateers in 7th. Damian Plotz, a fine ride on the Honda for 9th. Nick Way in 10th. A little further back, Guy Cooper finishes 15th. Again, he is 40 years old. Now, let's go to this week's Honda Tech Tip.
Hi, I'm John Mitchell with this week's Honda Tech Tip. I'm joined today with Kenny Germain and Ron Wood, and together we're going to show you how to set sag. Sag is very important. It's often overlooked. First, you want to take a measurement from a spot on the subframe to a spot on the swing arm, making sure to use the exact same spots all the time. This measurement here is 580. So then you want to have the rider set on the bike off the stand, and someone will have to help hold him up. He wants to put the full weight of his body on the bike. Then measuring from the exact same spot, you'll want to measure again, and you come up with 480, so you have a difference of 100 millimeters. That is your race sag. It's very important to stay within the manufacturer's recommendations for your height and weight. And I'm John Mitchell with this week's Honda Tech Tip.
Well, those Honda guys definitely had the sag set right here in the first 250 moto at Unadilla. 4 out of the top 5 riding on the CRs, and they were led by Ricky Carmichael. Well, before we do the second moto, let's take a look behind the scenes with this week's Racer X Pit Pass.
So, Cameron, I mean, how do you like the track today?
Paris the car winner, Danny Laporte.
The track is actually kind of rough.